Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. We are joined by Corey from Texas again.
What's going on, everybody?
And for today's episode, we will be talking about the Ohio State Senate voting down SB185, one of the most interesting pieces of legislation to come out of our General Assembly in the past couple of years, specifically because it was a pro-2A piece of legislation after the 2020 rioting and other states and stuff like that shutting down gun shops and whatnot. I think this is actually where this came from because honestly, like there are pieces of legislation that we asked for in this General Assembly that were 2A related. This was not one of them actually. This was just independently made by our General Assembly pretty much. And yeah, essentially what it would have done if it had passed would have been no governor's state of emergency or anything else for that matter can stop FFLs from being able to function. You can have people that would have concealed carry licenses expire, still be valid throughout the entirety of whatever the emergency is supposed to be, and a few other things related to that. You can carry guns during riots. Your 2A rights are not suspended, and anything like that is what it is. And I just think it's very interesting that the fact this was voted through the House the other day, I talked about the other day even, it was voted through pretty much on party lines. And then it went to our state Senate today, and the vote was the opposite way in a very weird way, actually, because this was the actual roll call vote that I'm going to bring up right now here. So the lone person to vote yes on this was one of the original co-sponsors of it, being Najee Antani. He's one of the guys that's actually flip-flopped our General Assembly at least once right now because he used to be in the state house until he got termed out, and then he became a state senator. I think it was 2020 election cycle, and literally everybody else voted no on it. Now, granted, it was amended the other day to add in a piece of legislation that would have basically allowed for anybody convicted of vehicular homicide to get a minimum of 5 years in prison, which I guess is how it is for cops now. But in this case, it would be if they killed firefighters, because there was a firefighter killed recently in a hit and run by, I believe it was a drunk driver. So I don't know if these people hate firefighters, if they hated the fact that it was amended, or what it was, because, whether it be Blessing or Brenner or Serino or Gavarone or Hoagland or Hotner, all these people were all co-sponsors of this originally,
Well, it
and
probably has to do with the
it's
fact
sad.
that the fucking lawmakers and shit, especially in the left leaning states, they just want anarchy to run amok. So it could be the
Yeah,
fact that they just want lawlessness there too, because they want the criminals to be able to roam free and the patriots to be locked up.
yeah, because we can go to the other side of this legislation here, and we have the original co-sponsor people of this for state senators. You got Antani, Blessing, Brenner, Serino, Gavarone, Hoagland, Hotner, Johnson, Coonsey, which, by the way, Stephanie Coonsey, oh, that woman is a fucking nut. She is definitely paid for by Bloomberg money. She will only vote party line votes when she knows she has to, pretty much. And she is definitely a rhino, just like Matt Dolan is. But yeah, Lang was on here, Macaulay was on here, all these people were on here, and now they're all no votes, is what it is. And it's crazy to me. And then you look at the actual, roll calls there. You got January 6th, 2021, Senate favorable pass 5-2, actual Senate floor vote 23-7, House vote on the first of this uh, month of this year 8-5 in the committee, 57-22, and all of a sudden it goes 1-28 for this final vote before it would have gone to DeWine's desk. It's just nuts. Like, my thing is, and I can understand, like, maybe some of the perspective of the fact that perhaps some of them thought it was, well, we passed constitutional carry this year, so like half of this bill is kind of a moot point now because it's all about concealed carry licensing and stuff. But even still, you still had other stuff in there that could have been passed and should have been passed that would have actually allowed for people not to have their constitutional rights fucked over in case of like rioting and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel very like disgusted by this General Assembly, specifically the state Senate right now. And
Too
it
bad
really
the
just
wine
bothers
couldn't
me.
have the option of automatically passing it through since they were all agreeance on it before. You
Oh,
know,
he wouldn't have passed it. He ain't fucking two-way, man. We've talked about
I
this
know he's
before.
not. I know he's not.
He literally, if it wasn't for us having such a hard Republican supermajority here, that piece of shit Ohio Strong stuff he tried to pass after Dayton 3 years ago, that Dolan, by the way, was the one that tried to be his little guy in the state Senate passing that crap through, that would have actually passed. And when you look at actually the 357 piece of legislation that Dolan's now trying to push through his own committee as chair, which is 100% a misuse of his position and stuff like that for personal gain, that garbage is basically a mixture thereof what was the Ohio Strong bill and just every piece of Bloomberg anti-gun legislation rolled into one. Plus, it would create like 4,000 mental health people that don't exist in the state right now, and I'm just like, and are those going to be the college age Antifa commies that shouldn't even have psych doctorates and stuff? Because that's what it sounds like to me they're trying to do right now.
Right.
Or is it going to be people like my cousin who's now a trans man and is claiming to help people out? And it's like, yeah, these people are all nuts, dude. So, you know, actually, that was one thing I found out this past summer. Actually, was with my one female cousin is now living her life as a trans man, and I'm like, good God, girl, come on. These fucking kids, man, I'll tell you. This is why I really don't like colleges
Brainwashed.
anymore. That's what it is. She was college and came out. Now I'm a man, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So,
Yep. Indoctrination at its finest.
and that's why I'm also trying to look for people right now to that are detransitioners, because I'm trying to write a book on the whole situation.
I know there's one famous case. I saw a video about it a while back. It was a woman out of Canada. She was talking about how she had all kinds of support and people just praising her and giving her kudos and just this, that, and the other about transitioning to a man. And she went and had the top surgery, and it was kind of like a peer pressure type thing to where she was wanting to kind of think about it, but the doctor was like, "Oh, if you don't do it now, we're not going to do it at all," type of thing. And so she went ahead and had it done at a young age. I want to say she was underage when she had all this done, around 16 maybe.
Yeah.
And then as she got older, she started basically regretting her decision, and she started transitioning back to a woman. And, you know, she's already taken all the hormones, all the testosterone, had the top surgery and everything, and she regrets it. And now that she decided to, you know, detransition, there's no support at all. She's actually had death threats where people were just telling her basically kill herself and everything, and all the people that were supporting her before just turned their backs on her, and she has nobody. It was very interesting. I think someone posted it in Discord a while back.
Yeah,
It's just fucked up.
The thing about testosterone for females, there's not coming back from that. Your voice has changed forever. There was a Blair White had one of these people on recently. I forget where the kid was from. And I say kid because they're probably like, I don't know, early 20s or so. And she was specifically talking about, and she was like, yeah, man, like I grew up very tomboyish, and it was a situation there where she was basically always wanted to do stuff with her dad and her brothers and stuff like that. And they were like, no, you're a girl, you're a girl. And then she's like, no, but I wanted to be with one of the boys kind of thing, or whatever the case be.
That's the same way with the chick in Canada.
And that's what it was. And then she eventually, you know, transitioned, and she was like, and she just felt like shit after the fact is what it was when they turned back on her. And that's what it always is with these people. It's a cult is what it is. They will embrace you as long as you are pushing their narrative, and as soon as you stop, now you are ostracized.
You're dead to them. Yep. And it's fucked up, and you don't hear about that ugly truth. Well, if you try to talk about it, they'll cancel you. You'll say you're spreading misinformation. You know, the whole fucking
it'll be a
stupid
deplatform
spiel
and stuff like that and everything else. Yeah, it's not right, and it's sad, and I think there's a lot more of these people that are finally coming to those kind of terms that it's like, no, this was the wrong choice for them. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit here and say that like there's not 1 in 10 million or something like that that maybe are effed up like that, and it would be better for them to live their life as the opposite gender. But again, this is why you have a period before you would actually do like surgical stuff that you should have to live through. Even Buck Angel talked about that years with when they were doing the thing with Blair White that time, and about their life when they were previously a woman and stuff like that, and they had to live as a guy for I think it was 2.5 or 3 years before doctors do anything back in the '90s. And now it's just like, oh no, go in and get the surgery right now, kid.
Yeah. You see, I'm the type of person, I'm more libertarian on this, I guess you'd say, where I'm all for less government,
Hmm.
100% for less government. And I don't like government sticking their nose in our business, telling us what we can and can't do or anything. But I'm to the point, dude, where I wish they would pass a federal law. And I hate to say this because, I'm all for less government, but to protect our children and say that they have to wait till, at least 18, because 18 by law, you're an adult in the eyes of the government. And honestly, I wish they would go as far as saying like 21 or so, because, technically guys aren't fully matured and not done growing until around 25, and girls are around, a couple of years younger than that, because they mature a
Hmm.
little quicker than us. But
Yeah.
the reason I say 25 is mentally and everything. But
Yeah.
at least 18 or 21, I'd be happy with, because you're still developing, your brain's still developing, your body's still developing and maturing, and you start fucking with people's mental and physical being at a young age, you're fucking that person up for the rest of their life. And it's not right. To me, that's child abuse, it's child endangerment, it's everything you can think of to say it's what it is. And it's fucked up. And I'm tired of them attacking our children and going after them just because of their own bullshit. Like some of these parents, they only want to transition them for them because
Hmm.
it's they're in the cool crowd, I guess you'd say, or the it's what's in. And a lot of it, I feel, or some of it at least, is Munchausen by proxy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
It's
There
it's
was
like the
one.
parents keeping their children sick just so they can get the attention.
Uh-huh. There was one, because I don't know if it's gone through yet or not, or if it's cross chamber yet or not at this point. It only has like a week or two to do it, though, if they're going to do it. We have two parental rights bills right now in the state of Ohio. One is almost a copy and paste of what Florida did for the school system, except I believe it goes a little bit further with outlying certain things to ban straight out, like 1619 by name and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one that's like a direct parental rights bill, and it talks about how you need to have if any kind of sexual things would be like even kids like because it would be like kind of K to 3 for the one or whatever, and the second one's basically any child in the age that's under 18. Parents would have to be notified, like, hey, if you're going to teach this kid like sexual content, like or anything related kind of material that's like not age appropriate or whatever, they need to be given parental ability to say no, we can opt out of this or whatever first.
100%.
And
And I'm okay with teaching kids, about the birds and the bees, like we
mhm,
grew up with, you know, starting around middle schoolish or so.
yeah,
It's like sixth, seventh grade, maybe,
mhm,
start talking about that and stuff. And then eventually growing up, like we did with health class, teaching them about certain things when they're older and more mature and can understand it better. But these motherfuckers are going after our children, talking about crude shit at grade school level, like elementary, and it's just bullshit. Leave our kids alone. Stop with your pedophilic bullshit. They should be locked up immediately.
yeah. And that's the thing. And what's really fucked up actually when they had the one hearing for the one parental rights bill here, Amy Schrader, the trans motherfucker from Jeopardy that got their claim to fame there,
Mm-hmm.
because apparently they're originally from the state. They don't live here anymore, by the way. They live in California now and do like engineering stuff in that state. But yet they came here anyway and were like, well, this is why I should be able to testify against this is what it is. And I'm just like, dude, get the fuck out of my state. Seriously, like you have no fucking, you have no opinion. Your opinion does not matter here because you're not a fucking voting resident in the state anymore.
Yep.
And then there was other people in that same hearing, either right before that or right after that. It was another woman. Well, I should say it was a woman, period, because Schrader's not an actual biological female. They'd be trans. But yeah, this woman who is an actual biological female and a mother, who I believe was a psych doctor or something, or some kind of psychiatric something or other, whatever it is, psych doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, was talking about her child being transgender and like a bunch of other craziness. And I'm just like, how are you people getting medical licenses in the state, man?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the same. There was a Patricia Getz, I think is what her name was. She was trying to run against one of our state senators this last go around for the election cycle. And she was running on the Bloomberg anti-gun, anti-life, and pro-transgendering of children is what it was. And I'm just like, how the fuck do you still have a medical license to practice psychiatry in this state, lady? And I swear to God, it's just like the crazy shit going on here where they just allow people to do all kinds of insanity without actually dealing with it is what it is. And it's disgusting.
It is.
And I'm just like, bro, like, at what point do we just say enough is enough?
I've been saying that for fucking years now. But, a lot of things.
I know I'm actually saying that's a rhetorical question, though.
No,
it's way past that point, by the way, just so we're clear on that.
I know.
But, like, I'm just flabbergasted at some of this stuff. I'm just like, dude, like, this is fucking nuts. Like, y'all are psychos. Like, why is this person not, like, and especially that mother, I'm like, how are you, as the General Assembly that's hearing this, not having state cops go to her home and investigate for child abuse after that? When she is telling you this, that her, like, 6, 8, 9, whatever year old child it is, they're living their life as transgender now because obviously she is pushing this upon them. And yeah, it blows me away. So, anyway, but yeah, it does bother me though about the 185 though not getting passed because it could have been something great, I think, honestly. And it sucks that it didn't happen. Hopefully next year though, who knows?
But it all depends on DeWine. Do y'all have the ability to, like, if the governor vetoes it or whatever, the legislation can overthrow the veto?
Yeah, we have the override, and that's the thing. We would have had veto-proof overrides on this no matter what. So for the half the assembly to vote it down again after they added one amendment, as far as I'm aware, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like there's another. I swear to God, I had another article here I was reading. Maybe I clicked off of it earlier or something. Let me go see if I can find it again real quick here, because this is actually what they were supposedly like adding into this. Shit, where's it? Oh, here you go. Wait, was that it? Or is that a different one? I think that's it. No, wait, I'm sorry. That is a different one. Yeah, it would have been. Go to yesterday here.
So I've been saying for a little while now, and I want your opinion. I think we've talked about it before. I know we've talked about it on other YouTuber channels. But how do you feel next year is gonna be with all the bullshit that we are subjected to the last few years and this year? And do you feel like next year is gonna be like the telltale year of if shit's gonna get like really bad, as far as basically like a economic collapse? Or
I could see one of two things happening in the next 6 months right now, and I think it will start in January. You will either see us heading towards a Great Depression in a very rapid succession time period. I'm talking about like faster than Venezuela went to their Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
because theirs was like about 5 years or so. When you look at that gas meme that somebody did from like their whole thing of it was them in South Sudan fighting for who was the more hyperinflated country. And this is a scary fact when you think about it because it's all those BRICS nations right now. There's already 5 in the BRICS thing right now, and I want to say it's like anywhere from like 11 to 13 want to add their names into it, which would make it like I think 16 or 17 overall, maybe 18 overall. And yeah, if they are all part of that, they will control. I've heard this the other day on somebody else's channel. It would be like 65% of all natural gas worldwide, and like a lot of oil and stuff too as well on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could see us definitely going to a bad place very quickly.
What do you think will happen first, or be like the big thing that'll change life as we know it, to where all our amenities and everything that we're comfortable with now are gone?
I think the fact that we are built currently on a shit, I'm trying to think of what that's called now.
I'm pretty sure if one thing happens, all of it'll happen.
It's not,
you know,
yeah, I'm
you
trying
know,
to think
like
of the
if
actual
we
term for the currency we do right now is. It's not petrodollar. I'm thinking of what's the other one. Or it's essentially backed by nothing, is what it is.
Right. Because we've gone away with the gold standard. Now we're, you know,
it's fiat currency. That's what it was.
There you go.
The fact that we have fiat currency right now is a big problem, because once you would have potentially all this BRICS stuff happen, you would have every US dollar, and this is why they're already having, you know, China and through like BlackRock and all that stuff like that, try to buy up our land and whatnot with our money, because they're trying to basically bring it back to the United States and put it back on our own heads at this point, enough to where it would already hyperinflate us at this point. So the problem is, and this is where I've been talking to the Ohio General Assembly for the past year and a half about why the fuck haven't you guys introduced a piece of legislation to legalize gold and silver as legal tender? Texas already has it. Colorado already has it. A couple other states already have it that way. And this is why I think some of those states will survive a collapse because of that reasoning, because they already have that piece of legislation as law in their states. And
yeah, I know Texas. I don't remember when they started. I think they did it a year or two ago, maybe, or so, maybe a little longer. I don't remember, but I think it's retarded. We didn't have our gold reserve in Texas. We actually, I think we had it in Fort Knox or some shit.
mm-hmm.
But we started pulling our fucking shit out and started bringing it back to the state, because I think they could see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Well, that's how it should be across the board, honestly. And my thinking of the whole thing is like, you know, I don't understand why we didn't have this legislation nationwide at this point anymore.
Yeah.
Or something else for that matter. Because the thing is, like, and it could be something, and this is what I've realized, you know, looking into politics since basically Trump's administration, because I really never gave a shit about, like, I voted obviously up to that point, but I was like never really like, okay, this is, you know, how it is, and let's start looking into like what's going on at state levels and stuff like that. I was just like, no, I'm just gonna vote whatever, whoever in, doesn't really matter because nothing's really gonna change anywhere, or whatever kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to realize how corrupt Ohio was after that when I started to pay attention. And my thinking is, I think you're going to see a lot of people who have been told consistently, you know, in these positions of power, like, you need to do this now before, you know, shit gets bad. And then it's going to be right as soon as it starts collapsing, they're going to be like, emergency fucking sessions. Okay, now it's time to pass our own basically like state level currency kind of thing or something like that. Probably is what's going to happen, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I could easily see that. I could see there being like an Ohio dollar or a Texas dollar or something like that, where it's not even like a dollar bill, but it's like a coin. Because there was coins back in the day during, I think it was Van Buren's administration. This was around the time of the Great Depression. They were called hard times tokens, and it was essentially an IOU. Because I actually own one of these hard times tokens because my one of my cousins gave it to me in a coin collection. and they're actually pretty cool. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can get a picture. I'll actually just pull up what it looks like here.
And whatever happens to kick off, that's one reason why we've been saying for years now, but especially more adamantly within the last couple of years, if you're not prepared, you're going to have a hard road ahead of for you. So if you don't have much or don't have any at all, stock up on some food, stock up on your daily essential items that you use every day, whether it be toilet paper, paper towels, soaps, just different things that if shit hits the fan and we go into a Great Depression or whatever you want to call it, whatever happens, you are better prepared for what is to come. And you're not going to be left sitting on the side of the road basically starving. Or your children if you have kids. Am I right?
Yeah. So actually, I guess it was earlier than I thought it was here. According to this Wikipedia article about them. Yeah, hard times tokens are American large and half-cent size copper tokens, struck from 1833 to 1843, and were serving as an unofficial currency. Privately made pieces comprising merchant, political, and satirical pieces were used during a time of political and financial crisis in the United States. Today, hard times tokens are collectible and usually very affordable as coins or as political history, and that's why I'm keeping mine actually for both those reasons.
That's actually cool. I've never seen those before, but I like the back how it says not
well,
1
there's
cent.
different ones though, because there's this one that's like some dude or whatever. I have a different one entirely. It's like a ship or something on it. But yeah, as I said here, it's a background 1832. Then President Andrew Jackson, who was, by the way, one of the last guys that did public dueling. After it was not even fashionable anymore, he would go and do public duels with people and force them into public duels in some cases, which is maybe what we should be doing nowadays. And this would not be where we are now if this would be the case.
Yeah, but, we've been saying for years, stock up on, start buying gold and silver if you can, if you can afford it. Of course, silver is a lot cheaper than gold, but still.
But yeah, in 1832, Jackson ran for re-election and called for the abolition of the Second Bank of the United States. Said while he won the election, he worked to weaken the bank before the charter expired in 1836. Without the Bank of the United States, state banks attempted to fill the paper money gap and issued a large number of banknotes, which fueled inflation. Hoping that to halt the inflation and speculation in public lands, Jackson and his Treasury Secretary Levi Woodbury, man, that guy looks like a fucking nut, issued the secular on July 11th, 1836. The secular simply stated that as of August 15th, 1836, banks and others who received public money were required to accept only gold and silver coins in payment for public lands. So that's interesting. Said instead of the intended results, the secular spelled the end of the time of economic prosperity. Secular set into motion a panic, and the public began hoarding Scumbaggery, which I'm guessing would, gold bullion basically is what it is. So without that to pay out, banks and merchants began having financial troubles. Wasn't too long before the efforts of Jackson's decision were felt across the nation as banks and businesses failed and the Depression ensued. By this time, Jackson's vice president, Martin Van Buren, that's why hard time stoking there, was the elected president in office. Period of economic hardship, the Panic of 1837. During Van Buren's presidency came to be known as Hard Times, aka Hard Times Token. So, yeah, pretty interesting little piece of historical fact there.
And no, that is awesome. I didn't even know those hard time tokens existed. I'm sure did once upon a time, but I
there's
forgot.
Also how that says not 1 cent on the back of that. I also have another one that's from around that same time period that actually is a 1 cent coin, that big ass size. So, actually,
I got a question. I'm sorry, go ahead and finish. But
I actually found out something interesting the other day, and it was the reason that we have the ridges around our coins now is because back in the day they used to do something called silver shaving, where they would actually slice like slivers off the fucking coins and make them smaller. And because we have the ridges on our quarters and stuff like that, when they were still made with silver, you couldn't do that. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
I actually did know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still cool.
Yeah.
But if we ended up having to go back to gold and silver as our currency in a collapse or whatever, would it just be gold and silver, or would it be like platinum and copper? Because there's copper coins, and
So
you can buy copper.
I don't even think we truthfully, if because obviously you go through, if we're gonna talk about like legit grid down and stuff like that, you're gonna have a period where nobody's gonna be accepting anything except like basic essentials, which would be food, water, medicine,
barter items,
like various other barter and trade stuff, guns, ammo, things like that. Whiskey would be another one of these as well. That's going to be actually being able to moonshine in that time period.
Coffee would be tobacco.
Yeah, any vice that you could make or have in big supply would definitely be huge for a lot of value items and stuff like that. Is what it would be, and that would definitely be something where you'd want to like value that very high, is what it is. Especially if nobody had coffee in like 6 months or something like that, and people are all like, well, I got this big old jug here if you want to give me that cow over there, or something like that, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I've actually got a pack of coffee in Mylar bags in my prep. I need to get more because my wife likes coffee, but I need to get more. And I still want to make my way over to because my county that I'm in is a dry county as far as liquor. And so I need to make my way over to a fucking liquor store and clear out like the little like airplane bottle of alcohol. Because hell, even that little tiny bottle could be used as a barter item if someone wanted alcohol bad enough. And I could get like different brands of like vodka, whiskey, bourbon, whatever, like the cheaper stuff. Because I'm not gonna fucking hoard expensive bottles of booze. That's ridiculous. So I'll just get the cheaper shit because I'm not gonna drink it personally.
Yeah, those little couple dollar nips or something like that would be the perfect thing for bartering.
Exactly. That's my point. I don't remember who it was I was talking to. That I think it might have been Duke that said that he stocks up on the little airplane bottles. Don't quote me. I can't remember if it was him or not. But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But yeah, that's a great idea, and that's kind of stuck with me because it's perfect size. It's not going to take up much room. You can throw a shit ton of them in one box and put it off in your corner. And as well as coffee too. Now, tobacco is one of those things that you kind of can't store for a long time, I guess, unless you vacuum seal it. But yeah, man, any vice.
Well,
you could probably stock
that's
up.
The thing as well, like if you are going to do like a vacuum sealing of, like, let's go ahead and say a loose tobacco or something like that. You can take that one bag, pop that open or whatever for various trading, and then pop it down to like smaller pouches and stuff with maybe a
like dime bag it out.
Yeah, exactly. And then have like 2 or 3 rolling papers with it or something like that for hand rolled cigarettes. And I think you'd have a lot of people that would. Go ahead.
You can get those big old packs of tobacco for like Bugle and stuff like that people like to hand roll their own cigarettes.
Yeah, I know somebody does that actually. He said he can get like I think 60 or 75 of them out of one of those packs.
Yep.
And it's like a third of the price of a pack of smokes, basically.
And I mean, they don't taste the greatest, but in a collapse situation like that, dude, a cigarette's a fucking cigarette.
Well, and if you're so nicotine jonesing at that point too, like it's not going to matter what the fuck it tastes like. You just want that hit of nicotine is what it is. And again, that would be one of those things where, that would definitely be a big trade item as well. As long as you can keep it so that it wouldn't go stale and whatnot.
I think the only way I'm not sure how it would fare if you vacuum sealed tobacco.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it would preserve it longer.
But I think it'd be kind of a crapshoot on that one. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, I know people that have gone and bought, cartons of cigarettes in the past and tried to store them and stuff, and it didn't work out well for them either. So,
I know if you put them in the freezer, they'll last a little longer. Because I used to do that.
yeah, you might honestly, in some of those cases, you might be better to just like grow tobacco plants or something, and like figure
Yeah,
out how to harvest it in the long run or something like that, and like nothing else, just like be like, well, I got this tobacco plant for trade.
yeah, because I've kind of looked into it a little bit. I mean, you have to like hang that shit up and let it dry out for X amount of time. But as far as how to start growing it, I have no fucking idea, dude.
Yeah, I have absolutely no clue.
And maybe that's something I need to look into because me and my wife, we smoke. So if grid went down, it'd be a rough fucking few months until that shit exited our system.
Hmm. Yeah, that's one thing about that my mom always instilled in me. She was like, "Yeah, never smoke because it killed your dad, and if you don't start, you don't gotta stop." And thankfully, I never did start. So,
Well, that's good. I wish I could say that. I started. I'm almost 40 years old, and I started smoking when I was 13 because my cousin smoked, and I actually
Mhm.
looked up to my cousin a lot. Because I didn't have a dad I didn't know my biological dad, and I didn't have a positive male role model. Sorry, where it's hard this evening for a
Mhm.
long time. So my cousin kind of stepped into that role, so to speak, without knowing. But yeah, he started smoking, so I was like, huh, let me be cool like my cousin.
Mhm.
And I fucking regret it.
Yep.
I mean,
But yeah.
I don't regret it. I wish I never started because I don't like to say I regret anything because,
Mhm.
you know, but yeah, that's definitely one thing I could change if I could go back in time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think there's a lot of things people would change if they could have a do-over.
but honestly,
But
simple stuff like that, yes, but like people say, "Oh, I wish I could go back and never met this person," or "I wish I could go back and like me." I said, "I wish I could go back and not play football when I was in junior high." But if you were to change life events like that,
mhm.
it may have a catastrophic outcome that you don't attend or account for because that stuff like that made you who you are today. And without that, you could be a shitty person.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's
eh,
like I always have said in the past about, as much as I'm not gonna get into that because that's family related stuff or whatever. But yeah, um, needless to
I'm
say,
a firm believer
there's
everything happens for a reason, whether we know it or not.
yeah, there's people that I, you know, have had issues with, but if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have my niece and stuff like that. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Even the bad experiences you had with shitty people, they made you, in a small part, who you are.
Yeah. And I love my niece, and that's the thing. And like, it's her generation that's being most affected by a lot of that transgender crap as well, is what it is.
Yeah, CRT, all of it. And I
Yeah.
feel bad for these kids these days. And I wish to God, I know it's been happening more, especially since the lockdown, but
Uh,
God, I wish parents would do in a mass drove just fucking start homeschooling their kids and shut down the public school system.
well, and that's like, you can say homeschool, but honestly, it's not even that. It's you sue the school system, you own the fucking schools, and then you change the schooling, is what it is. You change the
Yeah,
teachers, you change the fucking curriculum, everything else like that is what it is. Like, that would be the better thing to do right now, honestly.
yeah, but who's really going to do that? You're not going to get
Well,
enough people together to change that because we can't get enough people to agree to fix small shit. I mean, I get what you're saying, but on the other hand, it's like you're not going. a pipe
Well,
dream.
I mean, all it
I
takes is
would
like
love for
one
that
or
to
two to
happen.
basically make the lawsuit happen. So,
Yeah.
and then just more and more eventually see it, and they're just like, all right, I'm gonna do that too now.
It's kind of like the mentality is they don't want to be the first um to do it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like with anything they want someone else to go first.
Yeah, they'd rather
So
be
they're
the
not the
first
test
follower and
subject,
not the
basically.
actual.
Leader. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, makes sense. Yeah, I could see that, and it's sad, is what it is in a lot of cases,
Mm-hmm.
because all it does is lead to exactly what we're seeing right now,
Yep.
which is just the worst part of that this country's become now, is what it is. It seems like. So I don't know. I would like to see us get back to where we need to be.
I'd
I don't know if
love it.
that's ever going to happen or not, though.
In a lot of aspects, we got more, gun pro gun bills and everything. We're a little freer with gun rights. A lot of
Mhm.
states, almost like half the states have constitutional carry now and everything.
Yeah.
But I tell you, back during the late '80s, early in the '90s and everything, it just seemed like we were freer as a nation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it goes back further than that even. It's more like the 60s, 70s, 50s even, for that matter.
Well, I'm talking about what I personally have lived through.
Ah, okay.
It
Yeah.
just the atmosphere was different.
Mhm.
Everybody just seemed like they I don't know. It just seemed freer. It was a different
Mhm.
feeling, different atmosphere. Now it just seems like Jesus Christ, dude, it literally feels like we stepped into an alternate reality, into a different world.
Yeah, I think we have been for decades, honestly. And, from my own abilities, and I'm not shy about saying that, I have precognitive visions, is what it is when I'm sleeping. It's vision, it's dreaming, is what it is, precognitive dreaming. And I've experienced a lot of crazy shit in my life that's come true, whether it be days later, or whether it be months later, or even like a couple years later. And there are definitely parallel events that I have seen come true in my lifetime, whether it be the Team Bears thing, whether it be different other Mandela effect kind of deals. And it's definitely something out there that has changed. And I don't know if it is something where we've been slipping into other universes. And it could be, and honestly, like, I like to look at it from the perspective of the Superboy Prime thing, which is basically a DC reference to, there was a storyline of multiverse in that comic. It was like Superman comic or whatever, where
Mhm.
it was Superboy Prime was put into a pocket dimension, and he was stuck there for like centuries or whatever it's supposed to have been, or something. And he was punching the walls of the universe that he was in, and it was making ripple effects into other universes across the multiverse. And that's
Yeah.
obviously what brought back Jason Todd as Red Hood then, and everything else like that. And yeah, it's interesting. I think we could be something like that, honestly, where it is some kind of like cosmic entity fucking with us, is what it is.
Yeah, the people have said that it happened in 2012 because the Mayan calendar
Uh-huh,
said
uh-huh.
that the world was going to end in 2012. Well, some people have said that it actually did, and we just slipped into an alternate dimension because ours
Uh-huh.
ended. Sorry again, words
Well,
hard.
yeah, I know that there was another. Well, like I said, I talked to some people about this, and there was it's like Greek god theory or something like that, where we had left. I forget what the peaceful god was in 2012, and now we're in Aries as the god of war for like the last 10 plus years now, is what it is. So,
Mm.
and I could
Christopher Reeve
easily,
said butterfly effect, and I could
yeah,
see that too.
yeah, yeah, and I think that one is more to the fact of just having, you don't know what you're gonna do, and then like what you're change and stuff like that, going back in history and stuff like that, or changing a historical event in your own life or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Or it's just like the old Simpsons episode where Homer takes the toaster back to uh dinosaur times. It comes back to like lizard fucking tongued family or whatever.
Yep, I remember that one. That was That was funny.
And then just keeps going back and sneezing on random shit and make it even worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But back to what you were saying a while ago, dude. I've had that too, and sometimes it's trippy, dude. It's kind of freaky because there's times where I've literally had dreams, and then time because in my dreams I can't tell the time, but I've noticed that later in life I'm like, I fucking dreamt this. I don't know how long ago, but I dreamt this. That fucking happened. It came true. And my deja vu's I have sometimes, dude. I swear to God, it's literally like a smack in the face because it's so strong and powerful. To where I've had deja vu, and then it's fucking happened. Like I know this for a fact. I've seen it. I've done exactly what I've done, but a little bit has changed. I don't know really how to explain it. I know it sounds kind of nutty in a way, but I'm 100% on board with what you're saying because I've had that happen before. It actually just happened the other day where like I saw this coming, or I had an idea uh, about something, and then a year or so later, or even it could be like months later, to where it happened. It came to fruition.
Yeah. Well, I know with most of my dreaming sequences of precognitive dreaming, it's mostly something where I will be hanging out with like family or doing something, whatever it is, and it'll be like mid conversation, and then 6 months later, like 2 months down the road, whatever it is, I'll be sitting in the car having a conversation with somebody, and it's like half of that conversation is then leads into what I was dreaming about months before that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
one of
I've
the
had
big ones
that.
I had with one of my uncles actually, before his death, was that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a little weird. And there was one I remember when I was a little kid actually, because this was happened when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, somewhere in there. And it was basically seeing some random dude like creeping in the parking lot around our vehicle, and then seeing it happen again in real life and like freaking out and stuff because I didn't understand it because I was so young and my mind wasn't, you know, able to comprehend it at the time.
Have you ever
And it
had
was
a dream
definitely some
that's
freaky
so
shit.
it is. Have you ever had a dream that's so realistic that when you wake up, you don't know if it was a dream or not, like it just happened or something?
Yeah.
You could differentiate time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those really fucking get me.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the last one I can remember having was I was dreaming that I was in the military and um, my platoon was walking down a street. We were a group of us on each side of it, and we were patrolling. And all of a sudden, we get attacked, and someone either throws a grenade or I think it was an RPG actually, and they shoot it, but it hits the ground in front of me. And for some reason, I stuck my hand out like I was gonna deflect it or some shit, and it blew my hand off in the dream. And I woke up, and all day long, dude, my fucking right hand was killing me. And if I took something, it didn't help. It was fucking weird. And then by the end of the night, the pain was gone.
Yeah, I think in that case you would be more in a position of it is um an alternate version of you from another plane, probably.
See, and I've heard people theories of that as well, that our dreams are actually, when we're dreaming, it's shit that's happening in an alternate dimension. And kind of like the movie The One. So,
Yeah.
but,
Which
and
is a great
also,
movie too, by the way.
it is a great movie. I've also heard the theory that when we die, we're actually, we start over our life. So like when we're born, how babies, when we're born, we're all screaming and crying and everything. And the theory is that when we die and we start over again, we're crying because we know we died and we're leaving behind all our family and loved ones and our life that we just left to start over again. And the light that you see at the end of the tunnel is actually the light that you're seeing when you're born. You know, the lights in the OR, or not in the OR, but in the room.
Yeah.
And I heard that one here recently, and it's like, it's a theory. Whether I believe it or not, it's irrelevant.
I mean,
it's just a
entirely
theory.
possible. Anything's entirely possible.
Yeah.
And
It's
my
interesting
thing
to think
is,
about.
my personal experience of the precognitive dreaming is, if you have a recurring one, it's something you need to pay attention to, because this is one that I had in Columbus for months on end when I was living there. And sure enough, it led to something, and it was almost my murder that day.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the only time I've had a recurring precognitive dream.
Oh, I tend to listen to my gut because back in high school, I ended up, I was playing baseball and I broke my arm during a game because I was batting and I got hit by a pitch. Well, all day long, because, you know, we had a little practice before the game, and all day long, I kept having this bad feeling that I was going to break my arm. And I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when or how. But my arm kind of was tingling and kind of, you know, a light pain. And I just knew for a fact. And then I broke my arm during the game. I don't know if it's like I willed it to happen or if it was. I'm not sure how to explain it, but all day long I knew I was going to break my arm. I just didn't know when or how, and then it happened.
Yeah, no, that's like predestiny kind of stuff, like Final Destination kind of levels of
But as far as
reality.
recurring dreams, I've had many reoccurring dreams over the years. But it's weird because I've had reoccurring dreams about 2 different houses and different shit. Little has changed over, you know, through each dream, but for the most part, it stayed the same. But it is yet to happen if that's, you know, what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, and my thing was with mine, particularly, it was a staircase that I kept seeing in my dreams, and I never saw a staircase before, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. And then it got more and weirder because it was me in a bedroom that I'd never seen the ceiling of before, and I'm like, why the fuck am I in this bedroom? Why is there this gun to the back of my head? And that's all I'll leave it at with that, because I think I pretty much have suppressed the rest over time. I'm not going to bring it up. So,
Right. No, yeah. I got you. What's up? I know I mentioned your name, but what's up, Christopher Reed and Nightmare? I saw Nightmare just joined.
yeah.
Yeah, it's trippy for sure.
Like I said, though, with that Senate bill, it irks me to know that, like, it got voted down like that, and hopefully I'll get some clarification on that. And if I do, I'll definitely bring that back around to talk about again, because it's one of those things where it's, you know, an ongoing theorem and stuff like that. What the hell's going on? Hopefully, Antani's office gets back to me in the next couple of days, I'm hoping, but who knows? If nothing else, I might call some other people tomorrow morning and be like, hey, what the fuck? Why'd you vote against this? So, but yeah, as far as that goes, that's pretty much what it is with that. And like I said, it seems like a lot of people that are in the finance committee for 357 don't want to vote that through, thank God, and nor should they vote it through, because it's absolute garbage. And hopefully that'll be the end of it. From the talk people are having now, they said it's probably going to be next week is when Ohio's General Assembly finally convenes for the final time this year, which we actually technically have until December 21st before they have to be out entirely for the year. So it'll be interesting to see. But I could easily see people being like, no, I want another week of vacation before Christmas. So we're not coming back in. Let's get out of here. and go from there, basically. So I don't know. It's it'll be interesting to see what happens, though. And like I said, I'm always skeptical of what's going to happen here, and I'm hoping that obviously in this time right now that we're going to get these parental rights bills through, because I think they still have to go through another set of votes on the other side of stuff right now. And I'm actually going to check Legiscan right now to see if they've gone anywhere lately or not.
You know, I think those people that ended up voting no on that one bill that we're talking about, I think they should face some kind of ramifications because they were on board for it, and then right, you know, the goal line, they're like, no, fuck it, we're just gonna vote no. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, dude.
So they're literally going against the will of the people.
Yep.
And Nightmare said, did you hear they're going to give the governor in charge of schools? No, Nightmare, I didn't even hear. So there's apparently, did you hear about another shooting in Colorado?
No, I had not heard about that yet.
And he said, do you have any information on the Colorado shooter that just happened today?
This is the first time hearing of it.
Yeah, same. I hadn't heard about it.
I'm trying to see something here right quick. Okay, that's a different thing that I was looking up right there. God, why don't they bring up as correct things right now? Yeah, I keep forgetting what this is the problem with the Legiscan thing sometimes, is that you can put in like a term and then it'll bring up like everything relating to that term, but it doesn't bring up what you actually want. Because I wasn't thinking that this one was what I wanted, and it's not the top one there, and it's just all the other stuff. But these are all basically like people's parental rights and stuff like that, instead of it actually being like legislating. Wait, privilege hearing. No, that's not it. I feel like one of these was a while ago.
Where did it happen, Nightmare? I mean, give us a little detail on it. Now he says SB178. What's SB178, Ohio?
All right, let me look that up right now. Okay, so that would have happened this morning in hearing room, North hearing room. Good Lord. That is a lot of our revised code that's being changed, if that be the case, because that would all be stuff they'd be taking out of our revised code or stuff that you put in our revised code. Let's see, repeal sections. Revised code to rename Department of Education as the Department of Education and Workforce to create the position of Director of Education and Workforce, and to reform functions and responsibilities of the State Board of Education and Superintendent of Public Instruction. Oh, I think I had heard something about this, actually. Okay, so it was Bill Rinke and Brenner that were the ones behind this. And yeah, it looks like it's probably going to get a hearing at some point here, but I don't know when, because it was referred over a year and a half ago to the Primary and Secondary Education Committee and hasn't gotten any hearing since then. So I have no idea. But yeah, I was supposed to have a hearing yesterday morning then. Was supposed to be hearing then for that. So I'm not going to sit here and read all this because it's like probably like 500 pages, my guess, when it pops up here. Just going to go ahead and look to see how many actually pops up, though.
Yeah, this shit shouldn't be that fucking long. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the real issue is it's not that the legislation is all that long. It's probably like 2 or 3 pages, honestly, of stuff. It's that they put it into like a 500-page piece of our revised code / state constitution is what it is. Yep. And it's everything that goes around it then. Yeah. Okay. Page 1 of 2,144 pages.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, let's read all 2,000 whatever right now on live on air.
Yeah, and you can see
we'd be here until
like,
probably 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, and you can see all the shit that's being added. And it's like little pieces like right there. Department of Education Workforce shall be administered by the Director of Education and Workforce. Let's see. Let's keep going. Slipping out a little bit of stuff here. Yeah, this is the problem. They need to stop putting it all into the fucking code itself and just be like, here's what we would actually add to the damn code, period. Here's the 3 or 4 pages we'd actually be adding to this code is what it is. Yeah, so it's basically changing the term state superintendent to director. Yeah, it's just bad shit all it seems like, honestly, every single time. Workforce. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look more into this to see what the hell the problem is with it, or if there isn't at all, or if there's all the problem entirely. So I'm not gonna do that right now, though. That's too much of a pain in the ass for me, and my mind's already out the door. So, but nah, there's. Yeah, I'm trying to think what the one was that I was thinking the other day. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other ones here that I want to look up right now. Actually, let me go ahead and see what was introduced most recently here.
Have you heard any? Because I know we've talked about this before about what was it? Alabama is supposed to be the next in line for constitutional carry.
What's that now?
Constitutional carry.
Yeah.
Isn't Alabama the one that we talked about?
25.
Yeah.
On January 1st.
So January 1st, Alabama will be the 25th.
It'll officially take effect then that day. So let's see. Railway Board of Trustees, Ferguson Act 18. Jesus Christ. Regards Railway Boards of Trustees under the Ferguson Act of 1869. That was introduced 2 days ago by 2 Republicans and a Democrat. Let's see. Of course, it's fucking Cecil Thomas is a Democrat in that. I fucking hate that guy so much. He's going to go from being a state senator to a state rep next year, which should be completely done away with entirely. Flip-flopping our General Assembly. That's the reason why you have term limits, man.
Yeah.
It's like, actually fucking respect him. Plus, he's also a Bloomberg paid puppet, too, and he should be in jail right now for everything he's done here in the last 5 years. So, anyway, let's see. This is all from last month. Like, this is the thing I think is always weird about our government. It's like, designate this part of a highway for somebody that died, or this person that died, or that person that died. Some of them are military, some of them are cops. It is what it is, but should it all be legislation? Probably not. It should just be like one big pocket legislation.
Right.
It's like, okay, we've already done this like 50 times. Like, just add this person's name to this piece of legislation for the year or something kind of thing and give them their highway or their chunk of highway, whatever it is. Okay, this might be what I'm looking at right here.
It shouldn't be legislation. They just said, they should be like, let's name this highway this. Do it. You know what I mean?
Okay, this would be a different version. This might be a third one, actually, now I'm looking at it. That was enacted the end of last month by State Senator Shonda O'Brien. Let's see, amends a bunch of things for our state. Revised code, repeal sections. To enact the Parental Education Freedom Act to expand eligibility for educational choice scholarships, to cease the operation of the pilot project scholarship program on July 23rd, 2023, and to increase the existing income tax credit for homeschooling expenses from $250 to $2,000. That's good. So, yeah, that's definitely that's a third piece of legislation there for parental rights stuff. So, will that go anywhere?
Probably not.
Probably not. Again, this is one of these things they'll introduce at the very end of a General Assembly, though, because it'll be one of the first things that'll be on the dock for the next one is what it'll be. So this will probably be like Senate Bill 1 to 20 in the next General Assembly would be my guess for 2023. But the fact that it's already been introduced now is nice. And Yeah, there's some other stuff here as well. It's a bunch of initiative stuff. See, allow a person under 16 to be employed after 7 p.m. during school year. I don't know why it's not already a thing at this point. But again, got to redo everything to make it in line with federal laws and stuff like that is what it is. Designate Ulysses S. Grant Day. That's funny. Oh, here you go. An act, Defend Our Children Act. I think that's one of the ones that I was talking about earlier. Oh, no, never mind. This is the exact opposite of what we want. This is the fucking Democrat gun control that I've been talking about for a while now.
Fuck gun control. Gun control only helps the criminals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is where you see what every Democrat really thinks about your gun rights in the state of Ohio when you have 8 of them on this particular legislation. And where did they refer it to? Veterans and Public Safety Committee. It would amend a bunch of stuff in our revised code to enact the Defend Our Children Act to require a firearm transfer made through a dealer through a law enforcement agency or pursuant to specified exemption to require a background check when a firearm is transferred. Universal background checks is what this really actually is. They should just call it what it fucking is, but they're not going to do that. Also raise the minimum age to purchase a firearm of any kind to 21, increase the penalty for improperly furnishing firearms to an underage person. So basically, if your child can get a hold of your gun and save their lives and their siblings' lives versus a criminal is trying to break into your home, now you're going to be a felon for that. To establish a process for extreme risk protection orders, aka red flag laws. Jesus Christ, they're just repackaging every fucking thing that they already did. This General Assembly is what it is, dude. To prohibit negligent storage of a firearm. So again, if your kid can gain access to your shit. To authorize an income tax credit for the purchase of firearms safety storage units. So basically, if you want to buy a safe or a gun safe or whatever it is, or a pistol case or whatever it be, yeah, we'll give you a credit for it. We're not actually going to give you money, though, is what it is. And to make an appropriation, which is how they get that immediately into law, because it would be them having to be like, we need money for this. And that's how you can get around the 90-day thing if it actually get passed, which thank God is going to go nowhere. Because the one thing I realized in the last about month and a half actually was people saying the term, if this does not have a Republican co-sponsor on it, go fuck yourself, Democrats. So, but yeah, this is all the people in our state Senate right now. Which, fun fact, actually, Tina Maharoth is gone next General Assembly because she got voted out in a very blue district because people hate her fucking guts, is what it is.
Jeez, Cecil Thomas will be.
Yeah, Cecil Thomas is going to be in the state house now because he's turned out after this go around, and now it's flip-flopping General Assembly, which he should be kicked out entirely. Herschel Craig will be back in the state Senate. Nikki Antonio, who is a lesbian lawmaker. She's the only gay person in our General Assembly that is gay, apparently, and is an out and about lesbian. Will be back because she got voted back in Cleveland area. Teresa Fader, who should have been thrown out when she unsuccessfully ran for lieutenant governor seat under John Crenley, I believe will be back. I think her term doesn't until 24, actually. That Dale Martin person's a new one that was, I forget who they replaced is what it was. And then, oh yeah, that's what it was. It was this was some black woman. I forget her name is offhand. But yeah, she was one of the ones that tried to run for a couple seats. Vernon Sykes is Amelia's dad. She's the one that's going to be in Congress next year. She totally fucking shit away, is what it was. And then Kenny Yuko, I think, is up. His term's up entirely. He'll be replaced by, I want to say Catherine Ingram is flip-flopping our General Assembly to take over that seat. And Cecil Thomas's seat will become Paula Hicks Hudson's, because she also flip-flopped the General Assembly to take that seat as well. So, but at least they'll lose one of these jackasses, is what it is in there. So they'll go from 8 to 7. So, yeah, that should be fun. But yeah, that's just absolute slap in the face, dude. And this, like I said, this is everything that they've been trying to push through as just one big bill now is what it is. So it really is just insulting in general. And it's like, no, dude, like you're not passing universal background check. You're not passing red flag laws. And the fact that you're trying to claim this is a Defend Our Children Act, you should get punched in the face for that alone, honestly.
Nightmare says, you see that they're giving Cleveland people $800 for winter fines or funds. I'm not sure what he means.
Probably winterizing. Oh. No, I haven't been paying attention to Sandy Hook stuff at all.
I hadn't either.
I don't really care, honestly, at this point. They claimed it happened. I don't fucking believe the official narrative. I never have. In fact, I think if we swabbed a bunch of teenage kids' mouths right now, we'd probably find a bunch of live children at this point, but that's just my opinion on it. And, but yeah, trying to go back and see if there's anything else here I want to talk about or not. Actually, some of these are pretty interesting. This is stuff that'll probably be discussed in next year's General Assembly when it comes to Ohio, which is you got the potentiality to designate June 24th as Life Day, which I'm guessing that was the day that Congress overturned Roe versus Wade once and for all. And then, let's see, SB 739 prohibits school from discriminating on COVID-19 vaccine status. As it should be. They shouldn't be allowed to discriminate on that stuff. Fuck
No.
Let's see. Regards. Applied behavioral analysis. Certain children with autism. That'll probably cover my ass now. Even though I'm not a child anymore. But, yeah, there's not really much here, though. I can't remember what the hell the damn bill is, because that's the one thing I was trying to find the one, but I can't find it now. But yeah, and then you got the regards criminal law, mental health, and firearms. That was Dolan's bullshit 357 there. That's just an absolute pile of garbage is what it is. I think this is a Democrat one right here, actually. Yep, every single Democrat in our state house right now. House Joint Resolution 5, proposing to enact Section 22 of Article 1 of the Constitution of the State of Ohio to guarantee every individual a fundamental right to reproductive freedom, aka allow abortion on demand. Yeah, fuck you, Democrats. Ain't happening. That's exactly what Nan Whaley's sick ass wanted to do when she was running for governor. And look what that happened to her. She is no longer a political relevant person in the state anymore and never will be again. So there you go. Let's see. Oh, wait, this might be what I'm talking about here. Yeah, 722. Parental rights bill, student health, and instruction. I think this is one of the two I was talking about earlier today. So, express sadness for Buffalo, New York shooting victims. The fuck? I guarantee that's a Democrat bill. Yep, every single Democrat. To express sadness and condemnation for the mass shooting and killing of victims of Buffalo, New York. Like, that has to be a resolution. Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, people.
Well, it's like, I don't know if you were in match chat earlier, but how we were talking about there was that 16-year-old girl that needs a kidney replacement, and they're refusing to give it to her because she hasn't been vaccinated.
Yeah.
That's such fucking bullshit. I can't believe they're still doing that shit. I know during the lockdown, that was a big thing that was going around, that there was multiple people that needed organ transplants, and they refused to give it to them because they didn't want to get the fucking vaccine because they were, immunocompromised.
Yeah, this is one of the two that we would be trying to pass here for parental rights stuff that I was mentioning earlier. I can't find the original one to see if it's going anywhere or not, but this is the other one, which was amending different parts of our revised code to enact the Parents' Bill of Rights to require public schools to adopt a prescribed policy on parental notification on student health and well-being and instructional materials with sexually explicit content. That was by two state reps, Sarah Carruthers and DJ Swearingen. And it's interesting because the Sam Lawrence kid who was running against Carruthers claimed that she was doing a pay-to-play scandal in our state house. Meanwhile, he was being bought and paid for by every anti-gun group in the state and failed miserably in his political leaning or his political running. It was like 2-1 margin for her. So, which hopefully that'll be the end of that kid trying to run for office in the state. I doubt it though. He'll probably come back another 2 or 4 years, bitching months.
If we make it that long,
something, yeah. It depends. But yeah, this is reduced on the 15th and hasn't really gone anywhere, it seems like. September 15th. Okay, it was referred to local, state, and government stuff. Yeah, it hasn't got anywhere yet. I can't remember what the hell the other one's called now. But yeah, needless to say, I know that they were talking about the one because that one that Amy Schrader woman or Amy Schrader trans person was talking about the other day. That was the one they were bitching and moaning about. Was the other one, and yeah, I'm not sure where that's gone. I was trying to think if it was gone to the other side yet or not, but I can't remember now. That's why I was trying to find it here, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. So I'm also getting kind of tired, so I think I'm just going to call it a night for this time period. But anyway, yeah, I'll see if I can find that. Maybe talk about it in the next day or two is what it is. See if that's gone anywhere. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it for tonight. I will be back at some point. Actually, before we go, I do want to mention this though, because this has to do with what we're talking about, the 185 and stuff. This was the amendment that they put in here, which was Cleveland firefighter's death leads Ohio lawmakers to seek tougher penalties for vehicular homicide, which was so before the Ohio House voted to pass 185 last Thursday, members voted unanimously to add an amendment raising a minimum 5-year prison sentence to anyone convicted of aggravated vehicular homicide in cases where the victim is a firefighter or an emergency medical worker, which they already do for cops as well. And it was just basically doing it across the line. Johnny Tetrick, 27, year veteran firefighter and father of 3, was clearing debris off the road from a flipped over vehicle on I-90 on November 19th when he was struck and killed by a Chevrolet Malibu. 4 hours later, police arrested 40-year-old Leonardo Bazil, who police said had been drunk behind the wheel. So yeah, and that's why they convicted that guy of that thing. So, and that's the amendment that they put in there. But yeah, SB 185 got voted down by the state Senate for some reason. So,
And
like I said,
that's bullshit. They should have just pushed it through because, I mean,
yeah.
who doesn't want tougher penalties on those kinds of fucking people?
Exactly.
You know,
it's fucked up.
You know, you fucking decide to go drinking and driving and you kill someone. Hell yeah, you should get tougher because you fucked up. You should have. Man, we've talked about it already, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. But yeah, like I said, it's ridiculous. And then thankfully they've federally they've knocked out the JCPA from the NDAA at this point, as far as I'm aware. But even still, it should have never. Neither one should be voted through at all. So there you go. But yeah. Then apparently we also had 1,100 New York Times employees go on 24-hour strike. Surprised they have that many people working for that newspaper still at this point.
Right.
So, I think that's about it then. Oh, actually, this one I think falls into your category right here for state stuff right now. We'll go ahead and do a little screen share here, which is West Texas school superintendent accused of trying to record girls in locker room. Pedos everywhere, man.
Fuck that piece of shit. It needs to be taken to the train station.
West Texas School District Superintendent is under arrest after he allegedly placed an electronic recording device in the locker room of visiting girls' basketball team. The now suspended superintendent of the Seagroves Independent School District remains in custody on a $75,000 bond. So police in Gaines County, Texas, arrested Seagrove Superintendent Joshua Neal Guion on Tuesday on charges related to allegedly invasive visual recording. That police department investigators worked with the Gaines County Sheriff's Office and federal investigators to develop evidence after a video recording device was found in a girl's locker room. Incident came to light when an 8th grade girl from Hale Center IDS found a recording device in the Seagroves visiting team locker room. The girl was the last to leave and discovered that what she believed to be a cell phone charging device. She carried the device out to the bus and to try to find its owner. So further investigation revealed the device was actually a digital video recorder Evidence suggests that the superintendent placed the device in the girls' dressing room area shortly before the team had arrived. God, what a sicko. Yeah. Yep. Take these people, give them a good old desert march is what it is.
Yep.
As long as it's at the end of the day. So, but yeah, that's where we're at for the day, though. And I think we'll leave it at that. Because, like I said, and people want to say that, I'm a sicko for fucking calling the shit out. No, I'm going to call it the fuck out, dude.
Yeah, you mess with our children like that, fuck you, you don't have the right to breathe.
I'm assuming this is in Ohio and several other states for that matter. But no, I did not see that. I'm assuming that's local and probably federal news. I mean, they stand your ground stuff all the time is what it is. And that's the problem with the left. They don't like shit like that because they want to release criminals is what it is. And that's the problem. And it's it's a bunch of shit.
They hate that we have our rights and freedoms and, two-way, the right to fucking speak our piece. Yeah, they hate all that shit. They'd rather us be fucking deaf, dumb, and blind and in chains.
Mm-hmm. Or in a mass grave.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, that's it for tonight, though. Like I said, hope you all enjoyed this one. I'll be back at some point. Corey may or may not be with me then. Depends if he wants to be here or not.
But, yeah, I'm always down.
Yeah, you're always welcome. But yeah, other than that, that's where we're at for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you all on the next one.
Later, guys.